was just
Cool.
ordered one for my 40 and one for my 380.
Nice.
Do you want to do the music? Ready?
Sa-da-sa, sa-da-sa, sa-da-sa-sa.
We have no news this week.
Welcome to Chat with the Docs. This is Mobile.
I don't know, I'm not quite myself lately.
And I'm Dr. Noel.
Yes,
Happy November.
this went fast.
And then this whole year is.
This year has been like an ADHD kid with a temper tantrum. This has been brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're already November 3rd, Election Day. That's the news. Today is Election Day. Get out and vote.
I voted. Have you voted yet
I
today?
have not. I'm going after the show.
Very nice.
I'm going after the show to a place where they have no clue who I am. They don't care who I am. You know, the community I live in. And
I was going to say, I don't think you just get to go anywhere, but I'm pretty young. I don't know everything. So.
now we're going to go down to Rock Town Hall and cast our vote. And my wife and
I did early voting last Thursday in person. I didn't get a sticker though.
I never get a sticker.
I saw some people with stickers today. I feel slighted. So if you want to send a sticker in the mail with your answer to the conundrum this week, I love it.
My question is, with Biden running this year, the I just voted today stickers, are they going to be scratch and sniff stickers?
What flavor would they
Well,
be?
Only one. Whee! So, it's a beautiful November day, early November day. It's going to be in the 60s today. It's just the quintessential early November day in Wisconsin. The harvest is almost done.
Better than on Sunday.
Wow, that was miserable. We are using the wood stove at night.
Oh, that's nice.
It's great. The cat loves it.
I bet.
We've got a cat now.
You told me
And
your daughter fell in love with it.
She did. And this cat loves to run up our legs.
Because how old is it?
6-7 weeks now.
Yeah.
It's a young thing. But this little cat, we call her Little Gal. She was named Galileo because she was always climbing up a telescope at the people's house. And so we call her Little Gal. And this little gal, she loves hanging out at the wood stove. And where we live, this time of year, there's stink bugs everywhere. And they come in on the firewood, and so she likes to chase those things, which makes us happy. So, little gal is fitting in well. This morning, went to let Stanley out of my daughter's room, her dog, her big old yellow lab. He was laying on the bed. Little gal was right at the door and came through the door sneezing as she came through the door. And then the dog got off the bed and came out. So the cat was wanting to get out. The dog was, curled up on the bed. Something is wrong with this picture. But then again, Stanley's a weird dog.
Is he the one that likes to sneeze in your face?
One of them. We refer to him as our meth lab. We have a black lab, a yellow lab, and Stanley's more of a mutt, and he kind of looks at you like this. So we refer to him as the meth lab. Because he kind of looks like he may have been on it at one time.
Oh my gosh.
So, welcome to Chat with the Docs, your wholesale marketing of all things alternative medicine on the interweb.
Mm-hmm.
With one sparkling personality. If you want to be on the show today, if you're watching this and it says that it's being streamed live, and you want to be on the show and ask a question, give us a call at 608-314-8791. Talk to Carrie, tell her what your question is, and she will get you on the show. If you want to call real quick and place your answer to last week's conundrum, there is still time yet. In about 10 minutes, we will read the answer to last week's conundrum and then give this week's conundrum. That's exciting.
It is exciting.
So, I know that we're supposed to go in order, but I can't. I gotta get this off my chest. This is irritating the snot out of me.
Let's hear it.
Cornell's in Lincoln, Nebraska writes, I just turned 68 last week, and this year my arthritis has been really bad. Thank you for not referring to it as your friend Arthur. I can hardly walk. My doctor says it's because I'm getting old. Is arthritis something that a clinic like yours could treat? Number one, Nels. I had a buddy in junior high named Nels. Nels Tucker. It's a great name. Number one, yes. Acupuncture, chiropractic, herbs, supplements, naturopathic. We can all treat your arthritis pain.
We delve into what kind of arthritis it is and then specialize in treating a specific one.
Yes.
So it's special for you. Special treatment for you.
You don't want something that's just a cookbook. Thank you.
Cookie cutter.
You don't want cookbook medicine. You don't want a cookie cutter. Thank you. I'm having a hard time talking. It's super cool. So, you just spilled
Who's on the cap?
all over the show prep. I worked so hard. Not really.
That's a good captain now. You'll see it go more transparent as the show goes on.
So number one, Nels, yes, alternative medicine can definitely help your arthritis. But what irritates me the most, and the reason that you jump to the head of the line is because of this one sentence. The third sentence says, my doctor says it's because I'm getting old. Do you know how often I hear that?
All the time.
Every stinking day of my life. Some patient will come in and they'll say, well, this is hurting, but I'm just getting old. At least that's what my doctor says.
Or you hear from them, don't get old. That's what I get that all the time. They're like, do me a favor, don't get old. And I was just like, I'll let you know when I figure that out.
My grandpappy said, getting old is not for wimps. He said other things too that I can't repeat, but
He's a good one then.
he was hilarious. But no, getting old is not a pathology. So anytime a practitioner, whether it's allopathic, whether it's alternative, whether it's whatever, says, well, you're just getting old, these things are to be expected, that's a cop-out. If you're taking care of yourself, if you're eating proper foods, if you are limiting the amount of abuse that your body is going through, these things should be treatable. If you have, been laying carpet for the last 40 years as a carpet installer, smoking 6 packs of cigarettes a day, drinking whiskey and rye and when they're driving man crazy, sorry, shiny object. If you're doing these sorts of things, yeah,
You get some wear and tear.
You got wear and tear. But, as we're aging, as we're getting older, we had a question last week or the week before, what are some things that I can do? I feel great. What are things I can do to continue to feel great?
Practice falling, you said, was a good one.
Judo training, yeah. Mm-hmm. Practice falling. Get training on how to fall properly. But strengthen that core, eat properly, get to a practitioner that can take care of issues before they become major.
Preventative medicine.
Preventative medicine. Have them looking at things and saying, okay, I'm seeing a direction your body's going into.
I don't want to do it twice.
Okay. Cigarettes and whiskey. And go for that preventative medicine, because then as you age, these things don't necessarily creep up. Again, age is not a pathology. When someone uses it as a pathology, it's a cop out, plain and simple. It's a cop out because they don't want to do the investigation. I can't even talk today.
They don't want to do the footwork.
They don't want to do the footwork.
What were you doing last night?
On the grounds that it might offend nobody that's watching. I was watching the Grand Rapids rally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did that go?
I fell asleep.
That good, huh?
Almost through it. It was great. I actually saw some faces I recognized.
Really?
I went to school in Grand Rapids.
Oh, neat.
That was kind of neat. So, Nels, no, it's not because you're getting old.
You got something going on.
Something's going on and it needs to be addressed. One of the things that you can do is you can be taking curcumin. You can be taking a good therapeutic dose of a good quality of fish oil. Two things that you can be doing right off the bat. Soaking in Epsom salts.
Can curcumin, can that irritate the lining of the stomach?
If there's a sensitivity to it, yeah. Normally it does not have that reaction, but anything's possible. You can be sensitive to anything. Don't look at me that way. I'm sensitive. See? So, it's now 20 after. We've been on because, well, no, that's fast, isn't it? It's only 10 after.
I say, it didn't seem like it went that fast. Holy cow.
It's only 10 after. Let's do another question.
Okay.
Which one do you... Oh, I have 2 conundrums this week.
Oh, do you? Oh, man. How about I read Maggie's?
Why don't you do Maggie? Yeah.
All right, Maggie from Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Circus Town, USA.
Circus World Museum.
Yeah. My brother should be there. He's a clown.
So Maggie writes, I get a lot of severe pain around my period and around ovulation. I also find it really hard to think at these times. My doctor said my hormones are at the right levels and says I have fibroids. Is that why the pain never really goes away completely? Is this something chiropractic and acupuncture can help with? So, fibroids are calcified muscle tissue, and they can cause pain and they can be large. And I don't know your age on here because it doesn't say, but I know for women that are trying to get pregnant, the fibroids can be a source of pain and an issue, and definitely around the time of menstruation that can give added pain.
Number one, if your doctor said your hormone levels are all okay, get a second opinion, get them rechecked. Because normally when there's fibroids,
Estrogen dominance, isn't
hormones are off. Yeah. Progesterone's off, estrogen's off. These things are off. And so if your doctor says the hormones are at the right levels, how would Shakespeare say it? Something's rotten in the state of Denmark. Something's not right.
Give a second opinion.
And it might just be the lab. It might be the lab messed something up. But get a second opinion. Is this something that chiropractic can help?
I can help with the surrounding structural to get things more unique. Sometimes if the pelvis is off, you can get torsion on the uterus, which can make more pain. I know acupuncture can help with that.
Acupuncture can actually help. Number one, mitigate and relieve the pain. Number two, with the herbs, we can actually shrink and dissolve the fibroids. You know, people say, "Oh, I've got to go have fibroid surgery." No, you don't.
When I initially, this is before I even met you, when I initially went in for acupuncture treatment, it was for hormone balance. And, where I think estrogen dominance was one. And it definitely helped.
So, is this something that chiropractic and acupuncture can help with? Yes. Find a team that can tag team for you. Baraboo's a bit far to come down, but we had someone here this morning that traveled 2 hours to get here. There's one gentleman that watches occasionally. He comes down from a 3.5 hour drive. So the clinic's not too far. Is there anybody competent around you? And if not, Come on down.
I say it's really not that far from 3990. That's over by Portage and that. That's kind of all the same general.
And we've got people from Portage that come down all the time. We've got 2 or 3 people that come down on a weekly basis from Portage for acupuncture.
Do they bring a boat?
They do not. They do not. Their shoulders are a little weak to be carrying their boat like this. Ah! You one single person that's watching, thank you. I hope that put a smile on your face.
Which one do you want to read next?
I'm going to read Annie
Okay.
in Superior, Wisconsin.
That's right up by Duluth, Minnesota, right?
It is. Isn't it a bedroom community of Duluth? Actually, Superior likes to think of Duluth. It's a bedroom community of Superior. Annie in Superior, Wisconsin says, my husband gets canker. I'm sorry, Annie, I'll get to your question in a moment. Can I just say, it's really cool where we get questions from?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got a bunch of people in Wisconsin today, Illinois, nobody's perfect, Montana, and Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we had Texas, we had California a couple weeks. This is ridiculous.
Cali from California.
Was it?
I think so.
Well, that was stereotypical.
It was cute.
If you're from outside the country, don't hesitate to get a hold of us. That's the beauty of the interweb. The word is a smaller piece. So Annie from Superior, Wisconsin says, my husband gets canker sores all the time. He can have multiple sores in his mouth at any given time. What are they and can they be fixed? Ooh, number one, that's miserable. I used to get canker sores, just massive canker sores, and I could have 3 or 4 at a time. That was back when my line was really rampant.
It can be bacteria, right? With the
It
canker
can be
sores?
bacterial, it can be fungal, it can be viral, but there's this wonderful thing called Para-3 from Cellcore Biosciences. If you need to get a hold of some, give us a call and we'll set up a consult so we can verify that it's correct. But this thing called Para-3, it's an anti-parasitic tincture. Works well on some smaller worms like Strongylides. But when you put 20 drops of this stuff in water, an ounce or 2 of water, and you swish it through your mouth, that canker sore will tingle a little bit, but then the pain kind of goes away for a couple of hours. Comes back, you do it again, and after a day or 2, the canker sore is gone. Because
That's
this
nice.
stuff kills, it kills multiple forms of pathogen. Also, you can go to berescued.com and you can order their propolis toothpaste. Their propolis toothpaste does a good job of killing the bacteria and whatever else, microbes even, that can cause canker sores.
I was going to ask you too with that. You have that propolis is like a salve that was more for like radiation and that. Can pregnant women use any of those products?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You can use them on diaper rash even for babies.
Perfect. I figured it would be fine, but I know you're the expert.
We use them on all of our kids. My wife used them when she was pregnant. She used them when she was nursing. No problems.
Can you use that salve on your lips?
Absolutely.
Oh, good, because I have them. It works really good.
You can use it on your pets. It works really well on like a hot spot on a dog. But you will want to put the e-collar on them because they love to eat. So they'll rip it right off. What time is it? It is now 20 after.
Is it time for a conundrum?
It's time for last week's conundrum.
Okay.
Are you ready? Where is the conundrum from last week? I had it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's hiding. It's hiding. See? It's sealed. We did. It is sealed from last week. Do you want to open it?
No, it's your thing.
Smelt, tuna fish, and origami. That's correct.
Smells are pretty little, maybe. Origami, that could work.
Things that are really irritating when left out of the fridge. You're not old enough to catch that reference.
Ain't no smelt or small though. I went out to eat with my grandma one time for a fish fry. Smelt was on the menu. She's like, "That's not smelt. That's just been going on forever." She's like, "That's not smelt."
When I was in college in Michigan, we would go to the lake shore, and it was warm. And you'd see sometimes dead smelt up on the beach, and they're just little guys, but like that. They have die off every once in a while. And litter the beach something fierce. So last week, mind you, we were in the office of Dr. Samuel I. Lumbago, also known as S.I. the Joint Lumbago. You think we'll win a daytime Emmy for this? Probably not.
Is Regis alive anymore?
No, he died.
Did he really?
He just died in the
When?
last month or two.
Seriously?
Seriously. Kathy Lee is all alone.
I feel like I didn't even hear about it.
Yeah. Regis died. Sean Connery just died.
I saw that, yeah. He was 90.
He was. And, no, it's...
I feel like I didn't hear about Regis. That's so weird.
Regis died.
Then I think we got a shot.
Let's practice our thank you speech. I'd like to thank my mother.
Go ahead, Mo.
Does YouTube even have Emmy Awards? I don't think so.
Well, we can make them.
Well, with one viewer, I don't think we're going to get very far.
Everybody's out voting.
That could be. Show us some love. Hit the like button. So, Dr. S.I. Lumbago the Joint, known to his colleagues in med school, watched as his patient walked into the clinic. A good doctor, a good practitioner will be keeping an eye on things and be watching, especially new patients. The patient had a bright and pale complexion, narrowed pupils, and shaking hands. When Dr. the Joint Lumbago took the patient's pulses, the pulses were deep and thin and rapid. The patient complained of tightness of the chest and heart palpitations. Sorry, never mind.
That'd be a concerning one if you listen to that.
He's got rhythm. Atrial fibrillation, but rhythm. Max Krupa. The patient had been going through a period of great... By the way, I think we may have a troll. We'll see what happens this week. The patient, our very own troll, we've made it big. We're big like Oprah. The patient had been going through a period of great stress and anxiety. The Joint gave the patient an acupuncture treatment and gave the patient an herbal formula called Swanzal Rentang. What was the Joint Lumbago treating?
Something that you treat me for.
He was using a classic formula, Swanzal Rentang, that nourishes the heart, calms the shin. And in doing so, it helps the guy sleep. He was treating the man's insomnia. Mm-hmm. The man's hands were shaking. His pulses were deep and thin. There was very little chi there. There was very little substance left on this guy because he's not sleeping. His pupils are narrowed. He's in fight or flight syndrome. So, did we have a wiener? Did anyone write in?
I hope I get a voting sticker next week, though.
Guess what? Charlene, you won.
Really?
Charlene wrote in, and she didn't have the correct answer, but she wrote in.
Yeah, it's good.
So you know what, Charlene? Because you wrote in, we're going to have Carrie give you a call, and she is going to let you have your pick of anything in our vast and prestigious inventory up to and including the amount of $20. That's fair.
A good deal.
So, Charlene, congratulations, Mazel Tov. You are our first conundrum winner, although you didn't write it on the underside of the hood of a '67 Mustang. You didn't. What were some of the other things? Nah, never mind. But you gave an effort, so thank you.
Next week, sticker.
And because you gave it a try, the college try, and because we're sweeties, you win.
Loves it.
So, that was last week's conundrum. Shall we answer a question, or do you just want to go into this week's
Let's do
conundrum?
this week's conundrum. Let's keep it all together.
Do you want to do the blood pressure one, or do you want to do Dr. Gaboon?
Oh, good one.
You want to do Dr. Gaboon?
I'm supposed to read it, or we're going to go over it?
Do you want to read it? Go ahead.
Dr. Ivan Tigaboo was treating a 33-year-old female patient with sharp and stabbing pains in her left hypochondrium. What is that one?
Hypochondria.
Okay, well, I was thinking
I
right.
can't spell. That's why doctors have lousy handwriting, because none of us can spell.
I just wasn't on the right mind frame. The patient was irritable and weak, complaining of fatigue, brain fog, frequent illness, floaters in her vision, and bruising easily. Dr. I.T. Gaboon, took the patient's pulse and found on the left
Go on.
one pulse, shallow, complete, and wiry pulse. What was Dr. Gaboon's diagnosis?
So, I'm going to give you a couple of hints. Do you want a hint?
Is it going to be in...
Cricket.
Is it going to be in your terms or my terms?
Fine. Okay. We have pains that are described as sharp and stabby.
On the left side.
Stabby pains. In her left hypochondrium. What's hypochondrium? Right under the ribs here.
Mm-hmm.
What's right there?
You got your pancreas, you got your spleen, you got your stomach.
What's the spleen filled with?
It is helper T cells, blood cells.
Blood. Right?
That's where blood production.
So, sharp and stabby pains, blood. She has fatigue because there's not enough blood moving up. Brain fog because there's not enough blood to nourish the brain. Frequent illness. Ooh, we have some spleen interaction. Floaters in the vision. What did we learn about floaters in the vision a couple weeks ago? Blood deficiency. So we know that has something to do with the blood. So get out your traditional Chinese medicine hats. They're kind of fun. You can get them on Amazon. And, all right, you probably can't. But nonetheless, get out your traditional Chinese medicine hats. Go on, elotuslearning.com or I can't think, yinyanghouse.com.
How do you spell that?
Yin Yang, Y-I-N-Y-A-N-G.
Okay.
It's not yin and yang. It's yin, yin, yin. I as in E, except in Americanese. Yin, yang. Not yang, no, yang. I had an English teacher in high school. We were reading a story by Pearl S. Buck. It was about a Japanese pilot that crashed in China. And the pilot was going to commit harkipsu. And that is where they stabbed himself, commit suicide. And because he was dishonored, he failed his mission, yada, yada, and the people were going to probably kill him. And this little old woman found him and rescued him, and even though he was on the enemy side, took care of him. But this English teacher of ours, instead of, reading the word before her, sounding it out, she said, he was going to commit hara-kiri.
Carry?
And I looked at her and I said, excuse me, ma'am, it's harkipsu. It means commit suicide. I know what it means, and that's not what it was. It was hara-kiri. Look, it says right here. But what does that tell us? People will look at information with their predisposed judgments that are way goofy. I mean, I almost got detention when I said, no, Harry is a sports announcer. Well, for you sassing me, I can still hear the shrill voice. People come with their predisposed assumptions of what reality is, and they won't stop to actually look, which is what Nels was experiencing. A doctor who didn't have time to waste, wasn't going to take the time to actually look at the word before it and sound it out.
Hypochondrium, wasn't there an H in there?
Probably.
Like by the C?
Hey.
I think
can't
that's why I
spell.
got it though. I was just like, I looked at it and it
You
was
did
just
fine.
like,
I just can't spell.
it just was hitting wrong. And I was just like,
Just be glad I typed it out instead of hand wrote it.
I'm hoping I'm gonna have to spell check it after this and make sure that's right. Otherwise, my brain's just not working today. I got the brain fog too.
What was Dr. Gaboon's diagnosis? If you think you know the answer, write it on the back of a khaki Campbell female duck
Oh.
and send it to Dr. Noel, care of Siloam Center for Traditional Medicine, 839 Harding Street, Janesville, Wisconsin, 53545.
The ducks and the chickens are inside the barn now.
Are they?
Yeah, they're out of the elements. They didn't like that wind on Sunday.
Our chickens were dodging a hawk yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
The hawk was even coming right up by the house.
Do they want to come live by me?
I don't know. They're molting right now. They're not quite themselves. They kind of look like Charlie Sheen.
Oh.
And he thinks he's cool. Oh, no, sir. You really do kind of remind me of a molting chicken.
They do have a freezer they live in, though, right?
What's that?
Don't you have a freezer that you put them in?
Ironic, isn't it? Yes, we have a giant walk-in freezer that came with our property that's sitting out there that we turned into a chicken coop.
Good insulation.
It's delicious. I mean, it's wonderful insulation. Okay.
Would you like to do the other conundrum? We did not do that one yet, did we?
Do
We have two of them, don't we?
you want to do two this week, or do you want to save it?
Oh, we can say that.
Let's save it.
I wasn't sure what you were going for.
We're going kind of savory. I'm more of a savory guy, not a sweet guy. You didn't know I spoke Swedish, did you? Is that Swedish or Norwegian? I can never tell. They're so close.
Okay.
Marco
Marco.
Polo. Super. Marco in Madison, Wisconsin. Let me say it like a local. Let me say it like you guys. Marco in Madison, Wisconsin. How was that?
Little nasally, but it was close. Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. You guys put a G in there.
Up in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. We're gonna make all the Upers upset with us. They're gonna be burning us an effigy up on the UP. Okay? And that they're supposed to be really nice.
Not really mess with them. Just
I
like
knew
the
a
ones in
Uper in
Texas.
college. Have you known any Upers?
No, I know ones that are close to that, but I don't think true Upers.
I knew a true Uper in college. He didn't have any web feet, which meant he was superior to me. I had relatives with all kinds of web toes. On one side, and they swim in a circle. And Indiana. But he used to talk about cruising the roads in the wintertime on his snowmobile to find roadkill deer.
Okay.
He says it was so cold that once they get hit and they die, they'd be preserved. So you go out and find these roadkill deer, put them on the back of your snowmobile. He called them a snow machine.
Okay.
Because I guess once you get above a certain latitude, they become snow machines. The UP and the Alaskans, they call them snow machines. And that's how he said he didn't even have to go hunting because he just filled his freezer every year from. Anyway, how did we get to the UP from Marco and Madison? Marco and Madison, you ever read that? What do you want me to read there?
I had a car accident a few years ago, and since then I've experienced severe ringing in my ears. Sometimes it is about to drive me crazy. My doctor put me on Lexapro because they said stress made it worse. Lexapro didn't help. Is there something you guys could do to help me?
Obviously, there's a structural issue going on. Number one, I would have to ask, what do you do for a living? How much loud noise exposure do you have? Have you had your hearing tested? Did you have any structural assessment from a chiro?
Hearing too, or cranial nerves. If you went through whiplash, you get a lot of that motion because the atlas and octopus do this. Whiplash, if you go like this, you have possibility of damaging those cranial nerves that extend down.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility for sure. And tinnitus is actually pretty common. I have a few people that have it.
And it can, if your hearing is checking out, then yeah, it can be treated. There's something going on that's causing it. And no, Lexapro is not going to touch it. He gave you the Lexapro. He gave you the Lexapro because you had mentioned it was driving you crazy. You were probably getting depressed from it or anxious.
And like you said, is it structural or is it neurologic? You can tell that with tuning forks about where you start to lose the hearing or.
Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me.
Yeah.
So, is there something you guys could do that could help me? Yes. Chiropractic, acupuncture. Number one, you should have somebody assess you to make sure that the cranial nerves are not impinged, to make sure that C1, 2, and 3 are where they're supposed to be. That they're not, off in any one direction or
Putting
axis.
pressure on the different neurologic structures in there.
So, is it something that can be helped with? Most likely, especially if your hearing is checking out fine.
Could it be lymphatic flow? The acupuncture could help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In any case, give us a call, 608-314-8791. Talk to Carrie, get on the schedule for one or both of us so that you can be assessed. I can work on the soft tissues, I can work on the lymphatic flow, I can work on the blood flow. She can work on making sure that the structure is correct. So Marco, can it be treated? Yes. And by the way, Marco, send me an offline message. Are you the pizza guy? How often do you get that? I'm sorry, that was a cheap joke. I'm a dad. I tell dad jokes. If I weren't a dad, it would be a severe faux pas.
You love the dad jokes.
I do.
I haven't seen a new one though. You got one from September up there. I'm waiting for a new one to go up.
Jim.
That
Jim
was
gave me
Jim's?
that.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured you had that at home.
No, he has that calendar, the dad joke calendar. And on Saturday, September the 26th, the question was, how much does a Mustang cost? And on Sunday it read, more than you can afford. And since my son was just given an old Mustang,
Ooh.
not a cool one, a 98.
Yeah.
But it's
They were
fun.
trying to look futuristic back then.
They were. And it was still a fun little car though.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a convertible.
Okay.
And Jim's helping him fix it.
Aw.
So
Cool.
because we had it dropped at Jim's place, Jim brought that for me and
That's nice.
kind of laughed at me.
How do you not have that calendar yet though? That's what I wonder.
Because I'm too cheap to buy it.
Well, you have different holidays coming up.
So
That's
for the
good.
conundrum, write it on the back of a dad joke calendar.
No, don't get him that. I'm going to get him that for the upcoming seasons.
Nobody's perfect, Kelly. It's okay to be from Rockford, Illinois. I actually was going to test for their police department, but I had just gotten a job working for a major orange home improvement company, and my boss said, I could either take off the day that my wife was coming back from the Philippines, or she was my fiance at the time, or I hadn't seen her in 9 months, or I could go and be off the next weekend or I'm sorry, the previous weekend and test for the Rocky Police Department.
Easy choice.
I said, "You're kidding me. What if I call in sick?" "I'll know." So I worked through that date for the Rocky Police Department. This is like 20 years ago. And I went and I picked up my wife from the airport. But
Good choice.
it worked out. So Kelly in Rockford, we have city water. That's why I always get the marital problems.
I'm not married. I can't help. That'd be hypocritical.
Okay. We have city water at our house. Do we need to be concerned about filtering our water to get rid of glyphosate? My husband wants to put in a reverse osmosis system in our house, and I told him since we don't have to worry about glyphosates, we're fine. Kelly, your husband is right. City water ain't that good. Just because the water supply place is got a careful art and science to cleaning up the not so pleasant stuff from the gray water. How's that for a classy way of describing it? And making it potable again.
That's not in Rockford.
How's
the water here? Does it taste like chlorine?
It's terrible here. I grew up in Montana, and I grew up with water coming out of an artesian well in Montana. It was pristine. It was gorgeous. It was so good. And we came here, and it took me a good 5 to 6 years before I could drink the water without getting sick. Here's the problem with municipal water supplies. They're not that clean. They don't have means of filtering out all of the pharmaceuticals that get excreted from the body, because your body doesn't absorb all of it. How many people are on antidepressants? How many people are on hormone therapy? The list goes on and on and on. And we wonder why our kids are having hormone problems at an early age. The water is loaded with chlorine and other contaminants. You can taste it, and it turns your stomach. The water is not clean. And in fact, in many municipalities, they have found helminth infection in the water. Little microscopic roundworm infections in the water. I'm not saying Rockford has that, so Rockford City, please don't sue me. I'm saying just be on the safe side, filter your water. And then the question is, well, once you filter the water out that much, and you're doing reverse osmosis water, then all of the minerals are going to leach out of your bones.
How'd you like that answer?
Yes. Some goofballs did some studies and showed that. And you can find that study on the internet. But you can also find on the internet where Howard Hughes is still alive in a villa in Venice, comfortably with Alfred Hitchcock and Elvis Presley. Point is, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. I'm trying to avoid political jokes right now. I know.
So is your city water or do you have well water?
We have city water, but we put in a reverse osmosis.
Nice. How do you go about getting one of those? Is that something you go online, or you gotta know salt?
No, you don't need to know salt. In fact, most people don't want to know salt. By the way, he did tell me when I drove by the other day, he held up a sign saying, "More cheese, please." So.
Did he vote today?
I don't realize he can.
We'll get him the cheap stuff.
You might not lose your bar association, but you will lose your ability to vote after certain things take place.
They do ask if you're a felon when they register you.
Well, last time he tried to register, they asked, "Are you a felon?" And he says, "Of course I'm a felon. Look at me."
It worked out so well for him.
So when we installed our reverse osmosis system, I bought it from Menards online.
Oh, okay.
Just buy extra tubing.
So it's pretty easy to acquire.
It's really easy to acquire. You can go to Menards and buy it. You can go to Home Depot and buy it. You can go to Lowe's and buy it. You can go to your local Ace Hardware and buy the system. You can go to your local water guy and buy the system. You can have them install it, or if you have any kind of time on your hands, notice I did not say skill, I said time on your hands, you can install it. It's pretty straightforward. Keep in mind you will be drilling a hole into your drain. You will be piercing a hole in your copper pipeline with some kits. Other kits, it's an add-on to the valve, a secondary valve. The biggest problem is if you have a cast iron sink or if you have a stainless steel sink, you will have to drill down through it somehow or extend your water line over somewhere. Or just get a new sink with an extra hole. But it's pretty easy to put in. I did it. It's not that big of a deal.
You're pretty handy though.
I got two of them. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. So, yes, I'm sorry, Kelly, your husband's right. You really do need a reverse osmosis system or a Berkey filter or something. And it's not just the glyphosates. And this is the Midwest. There's going to be glyphosate in your water. Whether it's city water, whether it's well water, what have you.
Does it make it taste better?
The glyphosate?
No. Reverse osmosis water.
Actually, it does. It does taste pretty good.
Well, there you go.
I need to change out our membrane and some of our pre-filters, but it does taste a lot better.
But that alone. That's
And
worth it.
We were buying water from the store where you go and you get your 5-gallon bucket full of quote reverse osmosis, but they change their filter less often than I do, which means their water, although it tastes better than city water and is a little bit better usually, it's not that great. Once you put that system in and you have the clean water, number one, your ice cubes will be clear. Number two, your water will taste good. And you get rid of all of that garbage.
What about people that have wells?
Well.
Because like glyphosate is a possibility then.
Glyphosate's a possibility in either case. If you have a well, you're going to have glyphosate issues in your water. And it's worth taking your drinking water and filtering it. It's worth the cost of the reverse osmosis system, and I think they're like $200 for a moderate one. You can. I know a guy who's spending $5,000 or $6,000 on a water system. You can do that, but for those of us that don't have that, go along the road, pick up the aluminum cans, get beat up by the one homeless guy that's always out there picking up the cans. That's mine! Saul, help me! It's me, Saul! Don't hit me!
Cheese, please.
It's $200. It's not easy, but it is doable price-wise. Most people can, over a couple months, save up for that. And it's worth it. We're going to read about poor Samantha.
Samantha from Billings.
West Dakota. Don't hit me, Samantha. Don't hit me. In Montana, we refer to Billings as West Dakota.
Okay.
And they hate you for it.
I bet. My mom was just diagnosed with Bell's palsy on Monday. We were told there wasn't much that could be done other than to just wait it out. When I look online, I see that acupuncture treats Bell's palsy. Is that true? Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Acupuncture and herbs. Get her on herbs and acupuncture immediately. Bell's palsy is kind of like a stroke, and that time lost is function loss.
Steroids help with that too, isn't it? If you hit it early enough?
They can. Yes, you can have an impact on it depending on the infection with a steroid, either injection or oral steroids. What it is it's inflammation on the facial nerve. And that can be from a virus, like a herpes virus. It can be from a bacteria. It can be from Lyme disease. And oftentimes in the Midwest, it's either herpes or Lyme disease.
Could it be from an infection, like an oral, like let's say you got like a cavity. Could that be part of it because it does run by that
It could be
trigeminal?
part of it. In fact, some of those cavities could be Lyme disease. So
It's really not gender specific because I had a guy that I used to date back when I was in high school that he had that early on.
And it's not gender specific. It can hit anybody. You see it a lot in the spring and in the fall when the wind starts kicking up. In Chinese medicine, we call it a wind strike.
Okay.
So yeah, you've got something with a defined diagnostic name. It's been around for thousands of years. Chinese medicine can treat it. Acupuncture, appropriate acupuncture treats it very well. Sometimes they'll put the needles in the face, and sometimes they'll even use some electrical stimulation on it to try to get that nerve to respond. And the electrical stimulation, acupuncture has been shown to cause nerves to actually heal and grow. Often you can get away just fixing it distally and using herbs, and it works pretty well. I've treated a lot of Bell's palsy over the years. So
Physical trauma, like let's say being in football, like getting concussions, taking blows like that, can that also trigger the Bell's palsy because of nerve assault, or not so much?
it can stir up the infection that's going to cause the nerve assault. But probably not going to be directly the cause. But that said, again, it can stir up the trouble.
Okay.
So Samantha, yes, acupuncture-oriented medicine can affect it, can treat it, and has a very good, long, storied history of treating it. It's not something you just need to wait out.
Yeah, 'cause you don't know how long you can wait out and it can reoccur.
And I've had people who came in years after they had their Bell's palsy, their face is still drooping, they still can't close their eye. And then, you're treating for a good year and a half, trying to,
The eye gets dry.
the eye gets dry, and you're treating for a good year and a half, trying to regain some function, any function. The longer you wait, the harder it is to treat. So, get thee to an action puncturist. So, what did we learn today?
Saul wants cheese.
We have learned that Saul wants cheese, and we have learned that even after the election, we can still be pals. Well, we were going to be anyway. But did we learn that today? No, we haven't. Well, we're going to learn it. That even after an election where everybody's galvanized, we're still Americans.
We still stand together.
We still stand together. And yes, we've got rumors of people causing trouble and people promising to riot and no matter what. Come on, guys. Get over yourselves.
Yep.
We're one nation. Let's start acting like it.
Indivisible, liberty and justice for
One nation under God, indivisible.
with liberty and justice for all.
So, whether you believe in that God or not doesn't matter. Doesn't change the reality of it. We're still one nation. The nation was created under God. It was created to glorify the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's a very interesting history, how the founders and framers understood that the same blessings and curses that were on the nation of Israel were apply to the U.S. Very interesting. So whether you believe it or not doesn't change the reality. So whether your guy gets in or not, we still have to be human beings. We still have to show kindness and mercy. We still have to love justice.
Life still goes on.
And life is precious. So, you have just spent another hour with us.
Loves it.
Did you say Lefsa?
Loves it.
Loves it. Next week, we will be back answering your questions, and we will have a very interesting conundrum because it's already written. And the conundrum from this week, I'm sealing it in the envelope right before your very eyes. I remembered an envelope this week. Because who wants to lick an envelope? Talk about first world problems.
When you go to vote, they will not let you lick that envelope. They'll
Really?
give you a little cup of water. Well, at least they did it by me. Stick your finger in and wet the envelope.
What if I tell them I'm hydrophobic? They'll probably give me a rabies vaccine.
Well, you know ahead of time so you can think of all the content you want for that last little piece before they send you out.
Sealed conundrum for next week. The answer. If you have any questions for us, feel free to keep them coming in on email, info@siloamcenter.com, info@siloamcenter.com. You can also message us on YouTube, message us on Facebook, put it in the comments section on either one. Keep in mind, it's a show. We're going to read it on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you tell us otherwise. Do you have anything you want to add?
Vote.
Go vote. Go vote. And since we don't have any ending music, closing music.